fentanyl as the suppliers for fentanyl and methamphetamine into the MacArthur Park area. And I just want to pause for a second because I want to highlight that this is a criminal organization, operating in our country, and we are not going to stand for it anymore today. So they have been put on notice. MacArthur Park belongs to the people of Los Angeles again. Earlier today, we took 19 kilos of fentanyl out of a house associated to supplying narcotics here to MacArthur Park. That is enough poison to kill 190,000 Americans that reside here. Profit of over $10 million when sold. This is not a small organization. This is a major operation that's been going on here for too long, and it ends today. I want to thank all the men and women of DEA, all our partners for the countless hours and hard work poured in this operation. This operation is being done to return MacArthur Park back to the community. Thank you, and I'd like to turn it over to LAPD Chief Jim McDonough.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us here today. As you heard from U.S. Attorney Asaley and DEA Special Agent in Charge Anthony Chrysanthus, today's operation was a success by any measure. But today's mission is more than just a reminder of the strong partnership between the U.S. Attorney, DEA, and the LAPD. It's an affirmation that we will use all available resources that we have to keep our city safe. This past March, I stood before you with U.S. Attorney Asaley as we detailed the partnership that dismantled the leadership of the 18th Street criminal street gang controlling drug trafficking in and around this park. At that time, I promised our community members and warned the criminals that the LAPD would not stand idle if they dared to reorganize and continue their deadly trade. As today's operation illustrated, apparently some people didn't get that message. It's just a matter of weeks the DEA investigators observed a resurgence of the drug trade in and around MacArthur Park. By joining forces with LAPD's Gang and Narcotics Division and Rampart Division personnel, together we quickly developed a new strategy to identify street-level dealers and the complex suppliers providing them the narcotics. Through our collaborative work, investigators successfully identified 3 individuals responsible for multi-kilogram quantities of fentanyl and multi-pound quantities of methamphetamine for distribution in MacArthur Park. I want you to understand the urgency of our efforts, what's driving us. Fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine. As you heard earlier from the special agent in charge, that's a fatal dose for about 190,000 people. It is something that has been going on here, as he mentioned, too long. And the complexity of this, it's not street drug dealers doing this on their own. They're supported by and answering to criminal street gangs in the area, prison gangs, and cartels. And they're doing this right here in our backyard. We've had enough of this, and as you see today, and as you heard earlier, this is going to continue. And as long as we need to be here doing this, you're going to see this kind of activity here. I'm going to do everything in my power as your chief to keep those drugs and every other illicit narcotic we can off the streets of Los Angeles. Additionally, during the course of the investigation, investigators identified 22 more individuals involved in narcotics trafficking activities in and around MacArthur Park and the region. Investigators also identified 3 residences and 6 commercial locations involved in drug trafficking operation, as well as identified those persons responsible for the distribution of those narcotics here in MacArthur Park. The goal of this operation was to eliminate from the park dangerous and deadly drug activity and return this beautiful park to where it belongs and to who it belongs, the people and families of Los Angeles. Thank you, and as always, to all of you, our media partners, for showing up today. Without you, the hard work of our men and women would go unnoticed. And finally, to those who want to continue selling drugs in this area of the city, who prey upon our community members, exploit their addictions, and endanger our young people, I want to make you this promise. The men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department will continue to stand watch over this great city. We will be relentless, and along with our state and federal partners, in pursuit of anyone who chooses to harm our community. Thank you.
They've been on one, y'all. They've been
I
on
want to
one.
introduce a special guest we have here, Dr. Oz, who is the head of CMS and who's been instrumental in our fight against fraud and who needs no introduction. Dr. Oz, thank you.
They got Dr.
I want
Oz.
to thank Bill Staley,
He
U.S.
part of the
Attorney in
DEA?
Los Angeles. You have set a standard for the country. I appreciate the seriousness with which you have taken on this task. It is massive. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Appreciate it.
Chief McConnell, I appreciate your coming and bringing 100 LAPD strong here. Tony, for bringing 200 DEA agents. I left Washington this morning before dawn to come to Los Angeles. I'm not from Los Angeles. I came here because we've got a real problem in Los Angeles. MacArthur Park, which is on the surface a very beautiful area, is becoming a cemetery. This city block behind us is owned by a foreign cartel, effectively, because they're doing business here without regard for U.S. legal interdictions. And when you start looking at this problem, you begin to realize why the president created a White House task force focused on fraud, waste, and abuse. You begin to realize why he put the vice president in charge of this situation, and you begin to realize why it's an all-of-government approach, which is what we're witnessing today. Now, let me speak very plainly as a doctor to the issues that we're facing. I use morphine as a doctor. I'm a heart surgeon. Morphine is actually a drug we use sometimes to put people to sleep in heart surgery because it's actually more gentle for the heart. And it's fast. It knocks you out like that. In fact, fentanyl is used in the operating room sometimes because before you know it, you can't breathe anymore. But thankfully, we're there to put a breathing tube down. The thought of 190,000 doses of lethal fentanyl chills me. It should scare you as well. That is a devastating dose. Forget about the $10 million street value. The thought of losing that many Americans to the Sinaloa cartel and others who just don't care about us should want you to declare war on this problem, which is exactly what happened today with these brave officers at the federal level, at the city level, state level, at the local level. It makes a difference, and it sends a shot across the bow. Now, I work for Secretary Kennedy, and Secretary Kennedy is very open about the fact that when his father was murdered in this city in 1968, he fell into a deep despair, and it took him into the spiraling downward, lack of control world of being a drug addict.
Wow.
And he lived there for 14 years. He's a stronger man today because he weathered that. But he's not the only one of the administration who's looked at drugs straight in the face and faced the damaging consequences. Obviously, the vice president has told that story to others as well, not affecting themselves, people in their family that they love and care for. This morning, before we got here, there was a silence in the Jeep that we drove over, the Bearcat, because we learned that we were delayed for a few minutes because somebody had died here in a back alley. After we arrived, after many of you in the media arrived, there was an overdose just down the street within eyesight that was thankfully reversed. But I was in Kensington recently, witnessed someone go down, and when they were given a life-saving dose of fentanyl, they were angry that they had been brought back to life. This, my friends, was a rescue mission.
Wow. Say no to
I can say that with
fentanyl.
great confidence. We saved lives out here today.
Stay away
We've
from
also
that.
sent a very clear message to Sacramento
I
that
done
you
lost
cannot play with
friends.
this anymore because you're playing with fire.
People I
And
know
you're not doing so well.
messing with them drugs.
And so the kinds of things that I believe we can address by going into the visible addiction that was faced on the street and the worsening conditions and for policies that just have not worked. Reduction of harm is a failed approach in MacArthur Park. Maybe somewhere else it may work, but here it doesn't. Interdiction, however, does work, and when we're serious about it, and enforcement like this is a starting point, prevention is required, and we are here, and I'll speak for the federal government here. Medicaid will embrace these people. We care about these people. The beautiful program that you all pay tax dollars into will save these addicts. But you can't have pushers across the street who are sitting upshot in bodegas where they're allowed to distribute these drugs, and not far away, the big distributors and the Sinaloa cartel across the border are able to destroy the recovery pathway that otherwise would exist. This is a cost to the system as well. Medicaid is the single largest payer for substance use disorders. We are here, we will put that money in, but the cost to society of allowing these addictive behaviors to continue is $100 billion a year of lost productivity. I'm going to say that again so it sinks in. $100 billion a year of lost productivity. We believe the breakdown is evident. We know what we think will work. You saw evidence of it today. And my hope
is that we will take care of people, as Hubert Humphrey declared. Those living at the dawn of life, those are our children. We cover most of those children now through Medicaid and CHIP. Those living at the twilight of life, our seniors, Medicare does that. But today was about those living in the shadows. And that haunting metaphor should affect you. It affects me because I know we can do better for those folks. Now, we have built a nationwide effort to try to address some of the fraud we're seeing. This is a good example. When you don't take care of people that we should be caring for, and we're a great nation, we'll do that naturally. That's revealing of fraudulent activities. But I want to ask Kim Brandt to come. She runs the Program Integrity Unit at CMS. She's Chief Operating Officer, and we have been looking very careful at the entire soup to nuts endeavor in California, in particular Los Angeles, ranging from hospices to personal care services. And I'd like her to give you a short, succinct update of where we are. Kim.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Oz. One of the biggest things that we've done most recently is something that's been across all 50 states. Red, blue, purple, all the states. We asked all the governors to take a look at their Medicaid providers, those who are providing Medicaid services, and determine if there are high-risk providers and suppliers in their state, and to do something called revalidation, meaning they need to make sure they're legitimate. The reason that we are doing this is because in Minnesota, as you may have heard, there's a little bit of a fraud problem. And there alone, they have 5,500 Medicaid providers across the 13 high-risk areas that they have self-identified. 10% of the providers in those areas have already been disenrolled, and it's likely that this number will continue to increase. If we took that against all 50 states, that means that there could be as many as 50,000 plus illegitimate providers operating in this country. Also, we are looking at Medicaid funding, making sure that people are paying appropriately for Medicaid services. We've deferred $350 million as of this week from Medicaid funding to Minnesota, and we are currently reviewing California's personal care services spending, and we are going to be making a deferral decision by next week on that. As you may have heard, the hospice problem here in Los Angeles County is epic. There is simply nothing like it anywhere in the country. There are nearly 1,500 hospices here in the Los Angeles area. We think up to half of them could be fraudulent. Thus far, we have suspended, meaning that we have stopped payments to several hundred providers in here in the LA area, and they totaled over $600 million in Medicaid spending, which is something in Medicare and Medicaid spending, I should say, just in 2025. If we can stop that, that's more money back to the trust fund, and that's more money to provide care for the people who really need it. We want to really talk about the fact that we so appreciate the partnership with the DEA, the Department of Justice, the HHS Office of Inspector General, and the FBI, and of course the Vice President's Task Force, who has helped us to really take these aggressive actions. So this administration stands very strong with law enforcement, and we remain committed to winning this fight against fraud and restoring communities and protecting American lives. Thank you.
It's over.
Thank you very much. We'll do a few questions now. Whose helicopter is that?
It's over.
Tell them to back up a little bit. No, it's one of their helicopters. Are there any questions we could take? Yes.